Welcome back to the All Classics Restoration YouTube channel, and today I wanted to take everybody on a tour of the shop and show you the projects that I've got here right now that we're working on. A lot of these that I'm going to start doing videos on, I've already done some work too. First one we've got is a 65 Chevelle that was previously done some years ago. I don't know exactly who did it. A friend of mine brought this car to me because he wanted to get some areas taken care of on it that they didn't do properly. One of them being this repair here that was done on the windshield. And I think a lot of these were done because at the time some of these panels weren't available. So this has a repair piece that goes at the bottom of the windshield that you can replace the whole thing in. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to take care of that section. And if you look back here on the quarter panel, it got run into with a four-wheeler at one point, and it's kind of damaged the new quarter that's on it and the door. So he brought me a new door skin for it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to replace that whole thing yet or just try and fix that door. I have to evaluate what I'm going to do yet. One of the other areas that I took care of on this car, and again this is another piece that wasn't available, was this tail light panel. And it was in pretty bad shape. Underneath, the rubber was rusted out really bad. So we replaced this whole panel here already and got that finished up. We haven't decided yet on what's going to happen with the color on the car yet, so that's why I haven't done any paint work to it. One other thing that's got to get taken care of on this too that they didn't fix when they painted the car, amazingly. It's got a couple of holes here in the trunk lid where it was rusted through. So if anybody knows where there's a good trunk lid for a 65 Chevelle, just drop me a note in my comments section and let me know where I might be able to pick one up around the North Carolina, South Carolina area. And something else we're going to do to this car too. We're going to completely rewire this car. We've got a new aftermarket wiring kit so we can get rid of this 50, 60-year-old wiring that's in this car. Bring it up to a little bit more modern standards with a new fuse box and everything, and we'll have more circuits to run different things off of. So this is just one of the projects that we've got here. I'm going to walk you through the rest of the shop and show you a few more that we've got here. And I made a video previously to this one that showed you a special project that I'm working on for Mopar Connection magazine. Be sure to check that one out too, because it's really detailed about the project that's going on with them that I got involved with a couple years back, and we're going to show a lot of work going on in that car this year. So let's go for a little walk through the rest of the shop, and I'll show you some more things we're working on. I've got the panels that you saw in the video I posted the other day. These are for a Volkswagen Beetle that I'm doing for a customer of mine. I've probably done 3 or 4 Beetles for him, and this is another one he's got that he's going to be selling. So I've already done the body, and the body is going back to another shop where he has somebody else that does all the assembly work on them and puts the interiors in. I just do the paint body work for him on these cars. And these are what I got left to do. So he's already assembling that car, and he's waiting on these panels to come and get caught up with it. Now another project that we've got going on, and this is pretty much a full job other than the drivetrains not being done on this car. This is a 1969 Mercedes 280 SL. And this job came to me from the other shop that I worked at for a couple years. And they got a hold of me because the owner of this car has a certain budget that he needs to stay in. And with me having a lower overhead, I'm able to pass on a lower labor rate, hourly labor rate in my shop, so that it can make these projects a little bit more affordable to some people. So this car here, it's been in the family for quite a long time. I think he said early 70s, 72, 74, somewhere around there. His father bought the car, and then he ended up with it. Car originally was a chocolate brown, and it was repainted red. I don't know when, sometime back in the 80s. He had the body work done on the car, and the person that did the body work was a magician with aluminum foil and fiberglass and Bondo, because the car actually looked fairly nice until you started to take it apart. And then I started finding places where this car had a lot of rust in it. More than what we knew. We knew the trunk lid, the trunk area, floor pans were rusted in this pretty good. And you could see a little bit of other areas where it had some rust damage. But once I got into this car, I really found a lot of rust in it. But this car is, again, it's not a complete restoration, but it's more than a cosmetic. I have already done a lot of mechanical repairs on this car. I've done most of the brake system, replaced all the brake system. I've done a lot of repairs to the engine. I've done sealed up the engine. I've done all the hoses and coolant lines and heater hoses and whatnot under the hood, new belts. All the fuel injection lines have been replaced. So we're doing everything to make the car safe and reliable, so that when the customer gets it back, they'll have many years of driving pleasure without having to worry about coming back in for repairs in 2 months after they take the car home. That's pretty much where we're going to go with this one. It's going to get the full interior redone because it's in pretty bad shape. Most of the trim on the car needs to be either polished or replated, so we've got to go through all of that yet. So I'm going to be doing this car probably throughout most of this year and into next year, because this isn't going to be a quickie job. But there'll be videos about this car as I go along and fix the different things that need to be done to it. So they'll all be posted, and you'll get to see this whole restoration from this time forward. Another one of the projects we've got to work on here at the shop this year, 1979 Jeep CJ7. This belongs to a good friend of mine. And she's had this Jeep for quite a while and hasn't been able to drive it for a couple years because it's got some problems with the front end and it's getting some rust issues in it. So she wanted to get it fixed up so she's got something to go out and play around in once in a while. So we've got some rust issues to fix up here on the fender, as you can see, and the floor pans need some work, which you're able to get some parts for these. I was able to get floor pans and whatnot that I need for this, and that fender up there that's rusted, we can make up panels for that. But we'll go ahead and get this old girl fixed up again for her. We're going to send the roll bar out, and most of the other trim pieces that are black, we'll send them off and get them powder coated so they hold up better than having paint on them. Drivetrain wise, we're probably not going to do too much there. Just make sure that the engine's good and you know, it's not leaking oil too bad, and it's going to be reliable for her to get in every time she wants to go out somewhere and not have to worry about getting stuck with it. Okay, we've stepped next door to my neighbor's house where I've got a car stored because I'm out of room over at my shop. Actually, my neighbor and I had purchased this car together with the intentions of rebuilding the car and putting it up for sale. I bought this car off of a friend of mine up in New Jersey. It's a 1972 Olds Cutlass 442. I know, 72, not the best year, but it is the last year for this body style. And this car is a real 442, 350 engine, 4-speed transmission, positive traction rear end. So it is kind of a desirable car. They didn't make a whole lot of 4-speeds in 72. And that was one of the reasons I bought this car. I knew it would be a good car to do and get ready for sale, maybe make a little bit of money on. But we ended up selling it before we even built the car. Another friend of mine decided he was looking for a car to build, and I said, well, I just happen to know where one's at, and he went ahead and decided to purchase this car. This car is a complete car. I've got all the parts for it. My buddy gave me everything I needed for this car to put it together. He's already done a lot of the work on this car. The chassis all been finished. It's got all new brake lines, fuel lines, suspension's all been done. The frame's been painted. Everything's finished on it. The body's had work done to it. It's already had the metal replaced, quarter panels, trunk pan, floor pans, all been done. So basically it's just finishing up the body work on it, refinishing the interior pieces, getting the body set back down on it, reassembling the car, and going out and having fun. If you watched my first video, I mentioned that I had two cars that are still in the family that have been here for a long time. One was my mother's 57 Bel Air. The other one is my 68 Dodge. I bought this car when I was 16 years old, drove it my senior year in high school, and I still have it. So I'm one of those guys that can't say, oh, I wish I still had that car when I had in high school, because I still do. So all my buddies back home, that I went to high school with that are watching my videos now, you remember this car. Some of you have even ridden in it, and it still pretty much looks the same. The only thing I've changed since high school is I now have bucket seats. But she's still running. I take her out about once or twice a week. Go to cruise-ins, some car shows. Never have had the chance to get it completely finished. The primer on this roof has been here since 1989. I put it on there when I was going to tech school. The rest of it's kind of been freshened up over the years. Yeah, so I have a lot of fun with it still. Grandkids love taking rides in it. My grandson gets in the back, who you've seen in the Volkswagen video. And as soon as we get in the car and we're going down the road, I'll just start yelling, "It's fast, 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 Grandpa." So, yep, this car will never leave me. It's going to one of the kids. So that was a brief overview of some of the projects we've got going on here at the shop. Like I said, there's more coming in later this year. And I've got one up at my Blaster that I'm probably going to be picking up next week. Then I may do a road trip video of when we go up to pick that car up. And so what else have I got coming in? I've got a 1985 Ford F350 coming in. Like I said, we've got a 71 Challenger to pick up next week. And there's a couple more on the list that I can't really think of right now, but they'll come to me when in time. And we'll show you those projects as we move along with those too. So I look forward to bringing all these projects to you to see. I look forward to allowing my customers to watch the work go on with their cars. Now they'll be able to see everything that's happening as it happens. So I think this is going to be a good outlet for them to be a little bit more involved with the projects as they go forward. And yeah, I just appreciate everybody who's watched the other videos. And remember to go in and subscribe. Hit that like button. Leave me some comments on what you might like me to cover in future videos as far as any instructional things that you may want to see. And yeah, just share this with all your friends and let's make the channel grow. Thanks.